Alright guys, here we are again. This one's not going to be an airsoft review. This one is going to be airsoft modification. We'll call this Airsoft Classic. I posted a video a little while ago about my Tokyo Marui SG1, G3 SG1. The original gearbox that was in it apparently broke. I don't know if you guys saw that video. I'll put a link to it in this. But here's the gearbox here. I have since taken everything out and transferred it to another gearbox. But you can see there's a crack here, and there's a crack up here at the top. So this piece is not even attached anymore. When I took the gearbox apart, that piece just flopped right off. So you can see this is the original Marui box. All the marks for quality control that they were tightened. This was running an M120 spring and had some other parts in it to kind of help the internals. It did have steel solid bearings or bushings. They weren't bearing, they were bushings. I have since taken those out of this gearbox. I put this in another gearbox that I had sitting here, and I couldn't remember why I had this gearbox sitting here. Now, this one is also an older gearbox. It's a 6mm gearbox. So I put all the parts in this one. This one is not cracked out here on either side. So I figured, okay, well, let me use that. Well, I noticed that I had some markings here and found out after the fact, when I put everything in here, that this hole right here for the motor grip, the threads are stripped in there. Didn't realize that until I put it all together. So basically, and of course, that was after I put the CYMA microswitch MOSFET trigger unit in this. What do they call this? The Zeus. It's called the Zeus. That's what it says on the box. It is a microswitch setup. Most of the time you will find those in the CYMA Platinums or some of the CYMA standards. I did a review on a CYMA standard. It also had the MOSFET microswitch trigger setup. So now what I did, because this thing is kind of messed up, the objective for the SG1 is to turn it into a DMR. Whether it's semi-auto only and an actual official DMR or not, I haven't decided yet. But I have a couple of private fields that I play on out here, privately owned. It's not a commercial thing. We don't have just anybody coming out to the field, so we basically put minimum engagement rules and stuff in place for that. This gearbox here, the way this was all set up, was shooting 395. So I went ahead and purchased a gearbox from evic.com. It's basically the CYMA Platinum, and all pre-assembled, all done up. And I was looking at it thinking, should I do it? Should I not? So I purchased the gearbox. I did the radius cuts in the front of the gearbox because it was not done. I thought maybe it would have been, because some of them are. This one was not. It came in, they just ship it. It comes in a box, which I have. It's actually in the SG1 now. Has a flat face trigger. Now the only thing was, it was for an MP5. So it came with a motor, and the magnet on that motor will basically drag screwdrivers across this table. It is so powerful. But it did come with a motor. It's a complete gearbox, but it's a 13:1 gear ratio, short stroked. They took 4 teeth off the sector gear, which this is your sector gear here. They took 4 teeth off of this, and that's in the gears in that. Ball bearing 8mm bushings, or 8mm bearings, however you wanna call them. And it also has the microswitch trigger MOSFET. Again, it's made by CYMA, so it's their own thing. So I figured I would do that and see if the MP5 flat face trigger would fit in the G3 SG1. And it does. And it actually works. It functions. No, you got the camera kind of zoomed in. I mean, it's not going to be the best view of this, but yeah, here's the big old. And this is the Tokyo Marui G3 SG1, but this has a classic Army metal body on it. Which is why I'm kind of holding on to this. But here's the flat face trigger, and it does work, but I did have to change the selector plate. The MP5 selector plate and the G3 selector plates are different, so I did have to change that. So what I'm going to do now, so basically I just wanted to put this together, get the trigger in here, and this gearbox, I'm probably not going to be able to see it because it's way down in there, but this gearbox has a quick disconnect spring assembly. Oh, actually here, well, this is, I just kind of screwed this in here, but this is the guide rod or spring guide, and you can push in, twist, and the spring will come out of the gearbox. So it came with an M120 spring. The gearbox is short stroke. Rate of fire is nuts. It is fast with an 11-1 LiPo. It is really, really fast. Fast is not my goal on this. I just wanted to see, how fast is it with 13-1 gears? It is really fast. It shot pretty good. But now, so that came with an M120 spring, so I'm going to probably repurpose that. I wanted to see if the setup could pull a 160, an M160 spring, which I did put the M160 in here. And actually, I take that back. That spring, okay. So this is actually the M160 spring. I left that on there. The M120 I took out is sitting down here on the box. But it did pull with 13 to 1 gear ratio, 11-1 LiPo. It did pull the spring back, but it is short stroked, so it is not pulling it all the way to the rear like a normal gearbox would. So I'm not sure if when I'm done it will be able to do that. We're going to find out. This, with the M160 spring, 13-to-1 gear ratio, basically 413 for the FPS with a 0.2 gram BB. Now, ported cylinder. Keep in mind, the gearbox was for an MP5. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this apart, and we're going to get some gearbox time in today. So basically, I don't know how long it's going to take me, but I am going to change these parts out. So I'm taking the 13-to-1 gears out. I'm also taking the 8mm bearings out because I'm going to be putting a lot of strain on this gearbox. We're going to be going with solid 8mm bushings. Obviously, I got my shims out here because I am changing the gears because I'm going to go to an 18-to-1 gear ratio, not short stroked. So this will be pulling it back all the way. I'm hoping an 18-to-1 gear ratio will be enough to pull back the M160, and it won't just lock up the gearbox. If it does, then I'll have to look into getting something a little better ratio here to pull that tight spring back. And I'm also going to put a non-ported cylinder because this is a 469mm inner barrel. Most G3 SG1s that I see now that are being sold are a 509mm inner barrel. I purchased a 509mm inner barrel, went to install it, didn't fit. There's a little ridge on the outer barrel that doesn't allow a longer barrel to go through. Yeah, I could have maybe drilled that out, but I didn't want to have to do that and then worry about the barrel rattling around inside. So I ended up getting a tight bore precision 469mm barrel. I kept the 509 barrel because I have a M249 up here on the top rack on the wall that all the reviews I read about it said it could benefit from a tight bore barrel. So that will go into that M249. That'll be for another video. So basically this, and I got a whole new G3 hop-up system, hop-up unit here. So it's going to be a new hop-up, new bucking, precision barrel, which we won't get into putting that stuff in today. Basically, I'm just going to do the gearbox part. But we're going to be changing out the nozzle, which this thing, the G3 with the MP5 nozzle, I thought they were all different lengths. It was actually the same length as this nozzle here. No O-ring on the nozzle. So this one is metal and it has an O-ring. So basically we're going to be shimming the gears, and I don't do anything fancy for shimming. Everybody has their own way to shim, and some people start with, you know, putting shims in the sector gear. Some people start with spur gear. Some people start with the bevel gear. Everybody that does it differently, and their end result is decent. I always start with the spur gear, but that's me. And, you know, there's no exact science to this. The objective is just to have the gears meshing the way they should, not rubbing on the gearbox, which the spur gears are notorious for doing that. Depending on the gearbox, so you put the spur gear in there, and this will rub on the gearbox, so obviously you need shims like right away. I can't rely on the shimming job in the pre-assembled gearbox, because now I'm changing bushings and I'm changing the gears, so we're going to have to go ahead and reshim this. So I guess with all that being said, let's get into this. And I got my gears. I'll slide these over here. These are all my parts. Bushings, non-ported cylinder. I didn't even realize I had one laying around. What I wanted to do was I didn't want to have to tear apart and take all the bits and pieces out of this gearbox. I wanted to keep this as a backup gearbox. Yeah, this thing is stripped. I can probably rethread that and just change the screw size. So I'll keep this for now. I do have an 8mm gearbox, but it's a QD style, and I cannot find or get a QD spring guide that has bearings on it for the style of gearbox I have. Is it even handy? Here. I got this, was sent to me by accident back in the COVID era, and I was going to use it, but this got sent to me, and I was ordering a gearbox that was 7mm. Turns out this was 8mm, and it's QD, and it didn't come with the spring guide. And now, evic.com, it's out of stock. Yeah, I think they have one that will fit here, but I want one with bearings on it, and they don't have those right now. So I don't know if we're going to be getting another shipment, but so for now, we will keep this for a backup. I won't tear this down. It does work. It does function. Again, non-ported cylinder, and everything is, you know, it's already done up. $395. I mean, that's pretty decent, and even put $395 with a precision barrel, this thing will reach out and touch someone. It's got some distance. But let's get in here. Let's get this gearbox out. This is always loads of fun, because these wires in this motor grip, it's just so tight in there. So tight in there. Let's see, yeah. And I ordered a new G3 body pin kit, and unfortunately, with this body, this pin will actually roll through. Will actually almost come all the way out, because it doesn't, I don't know. All the G3s, I guess, are different. And as you can see right there in the picture, what I did, I have some old plastic bushings from old gearboxes that we tore apart. So I put one of those plastic bushings in here like a washer. So that sits on the little ridge, which keeps that piece from sliding through, and keeps the upper and the lower attached. So that worked out pretty good, because I'm never going to use those plastic bushings for anything else. Might as well put it to good use right there. Alright, so let's get this, see if we can get this. This thing is really tight. Again, this is a metal body, and it's really, really tight. Let's see here. I can give this just a little persuasion there. There we go. I don't know if it's tight because it's just metal, or because I painted it. I bought this as a parts, just for parts, and it was broken, or I was told it was broken. I figured out what was wrong with it, fixed it, and it worked. I'm like, well, maybe I'll just leave it as the SG1, and I'll just baby my G3 SAS that has the plastic receiver that is kind of falling apart, which is why I bought the metal. I just wanted this for the metal receiver. I got it cheap enough, but knowing it works, I'm like, let me make it. Maybe I will make a sniper rifle. I don't have any bolt action stuff, so I figured, yeah, maybe I'll make a DMR. All right, so there we go. There's our upper and lower is detached, but yeah, you can see here this was listed as a CYMA Platinum. I will put links to. Oh, actually, it looks like the body's rubbing on the gearbox. That's probably some of why it was so tight. I will put a link for this gearbox in the description stuff, so you can. And oh yeah, see, so it's a quick disconnect system, and these microswitch trigger MOSFET things are wired to DINs, which is really good, and it's low resistance wiring, so it's decent. It's a decent setup. But being able to take that spring out makes disassembly of the gearbox a heck of a lot easier, because you're not like disarming so you're not going to have stuff flying out when that spring goes crazy, because there's, especially in my case here where I have an M160 spring. Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted a gearbox with a quick disconnect, or a way to remove the spring without tearing the gearbox apart, because the amount of tension in there is nuts. Like, it's I can't even describe it. I'm just trying to find a Phillips here that won't strip out my motor screws here, the grip screws. I don't remember which screwdriver I used last time to do this. Actually, to be honest, I think I used my multi-tool. Let's see. This one's working pretty good. Yeah, this video might be on the longer side. Hopefully you got some leisure time and you're just kicking back and relaxing and just doing some research, or just curious to see what's going on, and you have some time to watch this. Okay, so I did use the motor that came with it. I was going to use the motor I had, but it's a really old Tokyo Marui EG700. I wasn't sure if that was going to have the amount of torque I needed, or if it would even last, because again, it's really old. I'm guessing the AEG, the SG1 I have here, I'm guessing it was produced back in 2003, maybe 2003 or 4. So I mean, it's not new. So I don't want to put all this new added stress on this old motor. I mean, the motor will turn a standard system, no problem. But let's see. Look at that. It just ripped the gear right off the table and just shot over there. Gotta be careful with that. That'll pull the lug nuts off your car. All right, let's see. So now we got to get in here. I was all paranoid when I was tightening these screws for the motor grip. I was all worried they were going to strip, because my other gearbox is kind of stripped. Let's see. And again, I don't remember which screwdriver I used. Is it this one? Oh, it seems like this one's got it. Let's see. Maybe doing all this gearbox work, I should probably have a little precision electric screwdriver. So I don't have to do this by hand. You just, there it is. I know a lot of people I see on YouTube that post videos on gearbox stuff. They have one. I imagine it helps out a lot. Let's see if I got it. All right, there we go. Working on gearboxes for me, I mean, I'm not doing this as a profession. I do it on my own stuff. I do it on other people's AEGs, just in my spare time. I mean, I got, people on the team or friends that have stuff that goes down, and I'm kind of one of the few guys anybody knows who still knows how to work on it. Most people, like EVIC actually has a tech department. I mean, you can have them work on your stuff. But way back in the day when I started, over 20 years ago, we didn't have the money to be taking our stuff to the shop. So we all had to kind of learn to fix our own parts and learn how to do this ourselves. And again, it's trial and error. I mean, one thing, maybe if you just want to get something, buy something broken on eBay, or get something from Evic like a boneyard item, and just get it as a learning platform and learn how the stuff works and just take it apart on your own time. I was a mechanic for a lot of years, and what we used to do is go to the like pick apart type junkyards and basically find the car that's like yours, and when you find the parts you need, you're basically learning how to take it off on this junkyard car, and that's your learning experience, and now you know how to put it on your new car, or the car that you have that you're trying to fix. So, alright, see, yeah, bearings. We have 8mm bearings, so we're gonna be getting rid of that. But yeah, flat face trigger. It is a lot of trigger pull though. It takes the full. Oop! I just bumped the camera. It takes the full pull to get the thing to go off, but it's not on the G3. It's not that bad. I don't know. It might seem crazy on an MP5. I don't know, but on the G3, it's not that bad. But yeah, ported cylinder. We're gonna be getting rid of that. So, one thing I don't like about this gearbox, and it's just a me thing. It has nothing to do with performance or quality. This trigger, this trigger right here, is such a pain to get in here, to have it stay there. And it took a lot to keep this from popping out when I was trying to put the gearbox back together, because I had to take some stuff out to change the selector plate, because you got to get the cutoff wheel out of the way and the spring so you can slide this out, and the safety lock here. But all right, let's see here. And again, where's my electric screwdriver, right? I think it was this. This is the one I used, I think. I noticed none of these have lock washers. I think some of these screws had Loctite on them. Had blue Loctite. I've never built a gearbox where I had to put Loctite on the screws. I did have a gearbox where the screws used to keep coming loose, but then we put the these little tiny star lock washer things on them, and it stopped doing that. So the long ones here. Was it these? Yeah, these had. I think these just had a little. I don't even know. Maybe this one wasn't the one that had the Loctite. And one thing I noticed on these newer gearboxes, this here, the screw that holds the safety latch, so when you put it on safe, it locks the trigger. The screw that holds the two plastic halves together goes through the outer shell into the latch. These old gearboxes here, if you look, I'll pull this one over. This was the old G3 box. You see right here, it's not there. It's all internal. This little screw doesn't, you don't get this from the outside. You get it, it's all inside the gearbox. That I don't like, because this in the old gearboxes stays basically all together. It stays all internal, but I don't know, I don't design the gearboxes, somebody else does. So oh, see, that one was actually, see, that one was loose. Hope that's not a sign of things to come, because I had the M160 spring in there. My gosh. I tell you, the spring tension on that M160 is nuts. So I'm hoping to be closer to 450 by the end, but if not, if I get a good, reliable, solid 400 number, I guess I'd be okay with that. It would probably be okay with the precision barrel being, you know, well, it's 413. It's shooting 413. At the most, it was like 411 to 413. And yeah, that's decent. But I have regular rifles that shoot more than that, and they're not even running an M160 spring. All right, now let's see how bad this stuff pops out, because this, oh, it also has a delay chip on the sector gear, which keeps all kinds of tension. Yeah, you can see it. See the nozzle is like pulled back because the tappet plate is actually sitting on that delay chip. So when I pop this, when I start to open this, it's still gonna make this popping sound like things are flying apart. I can do it without. Oh, maybe it's not gonna. Yeah, it's still sticking in there. This sector gear's coming. Oh, see, hear it? There we go. Oh, see, trigger's starting to fly out of here. Look at that. Can you see that tappet plate? That's my gosh. Did I lose any of the shims? Oh, yep, I got some of the shims here. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I'm taking all this out, so. Yeah, my gosh. All right, so I hate taking this trigger out, but I have to. All right, take the trigger out. But see, this is all, on the other gearbox, all this is inside. You don't have to undo that screw. But, so basically all this has got to come out because we're going to start off fresh. Well, I'm not taking the trigger out. The trigger stays. You can see, I'll point it out, this right here. That's the microswitch. So the trigger comes up, hits this latch here, and zip, zip. So it's crisp. It works good. It just, in this setup with this flat face trigger, there's a lot of travel. But that's easily fixed. I mean, there's other ways you can shorten that up. All right, give me this. And give me this. This thing's got a lot of tension on it. So we will reuse that latch. What did I just do? Oh. Get this off. There we go. I'm going to set that back there. So we're going to be reusing the piston. And since we got it apart, let's pull the piston. Oi! There we go. Lots of grease. Lots and lots of grease in this gearbox. I wiped some of it out. I didn't even know how the gears were spinning. But anyway, so this is the CYMA. This is their piston here. Full rack. Man, I bumped the camera again. Sorry. Full rack of metal teeth. The second to last tooth here, I don't know if you can see it. It's lower than the rest, so I guess to help with the angle of engagement, or AOE. So we got here, it's a metal. Gosh, you see all that grease? It's almost like oil. But anyway, so we have a metal piston head with a dual O-ring. It's got the main O-ring, and then there's a smaller one. And if you look, it is a mushroom style. So this is a silent piston head, because the cylinder head has an indentation, so when that hits, which is good for if you want to be sniperish, it doesn't make that loud smack when the piston comes all the way up and hits the backside of that cylinder head. So that's good. So we're going to reuse this, and this is ball bearing. There's bearings in here. So we're going to reuse that piston. We're going to reuse the piston. We're going to reuse the cylinder head. We're going to reuse the tappet plate. We are not reusing the nozzle. We are going to put our nozzle here, which is, I mean, looking at the two, they are like the same exact length. It might be a hair short. I think the MP5 ones are shorter, but holding them up, they almost look the same length. It's really hard to tell. They look so close. I used this nozzle, which is supposed to be for an MP5, in my G3, and it cycled perfectly. So I don't know why or how, but it did. Okay, so we're going to be switching that out. So I need to get this. I hope I can get this out. These things are really tight in here, and I believe it's a double O-ring. It is. There we go. That came out. That's good. So here's the cylinder head. It is a dual O-ring. And now if you look here, see that indentation? So when the piston goes flying home, see you get the indentation there? It sits, and it's supposed to not make such a snapping sound. So, alright, so now let me get my cylinder here. Since we got the piston, or the cylinder head off, I don't remember, let's see. One side of this had some scratches and one side didn't. I guess we'll just put it here. Oh goodness. This might not work. This might not work. Wow, I wonder if this is an oversized cylinder. Well, this may not work. Well, that's no bueno, because I wanted to leave that other gearbox assembled. Yeah, because when I put this in here, I slide this in, it's like almost like it wants to fall out, but when I put it in this other cylinder, it sits in there tight. Like a lot tighter. Let's see here. Look at that. It's actually pushing the piston or the cylinder head out. Now, unfortunately, on this other cylinder here, this may not work. I mean, I could probably make it work, but I don't have a set of O-rings here that'll... Yeah, it's making like no air seal at all. It's completely loose there. Well, I figured that was going to happen. I mean, we can cheat. We can use the cylinder. We just have to find a way to block off that port. And the downside to doing that is fitment in the gearbox, because if you put tape in here, and also the cylinder is ribbed, so it doesn't, it's not going to sit completely flat. Wow. Well, then I might be, maybe I will change the, maybe we will be changing this. Let's see. See what I got hanging on the wall. I mean, I know that we need to get some more grease on the O-rings there to make a good seal in the cylinder, but I don't know. Do I have? I do have one. It's not the best, but it will work. And actually, what I'm missing here is actually missing my piston. I had another piston head here that I don't see. Well, shoot. That's the MP5 selector plate. Let's see. Well, this is just a basic. It's not even metal. I don't know if that's gonna last long running a basic single O-ring cylinder head in here. Let's see. Well, that fits a heck of a lot tighter. It does have a pad on the end, yeah, but I'm gonna have to change the piston, because this is not gonna, that's not gonna mesh well. Again, I would just rather use that. You know what? No, hold that thought. I have O-rings for that. Let's see if I can find them here. I had a battery charging over here in all my parts. Oh, there it is right here. Is this it? No, that's for the piston. And the other one should be in here. Let's see. Yes. I'm thinking I'm going to come across that cylinder head. Or, I'm sorry, piston head. Here we go. Let's see. Let's see what this says here. Let's see what this says. Maybe if I have O-rings for cylinder heads. Now you would never believe where I got these O-rings, because I can't. At one point I couldn't find cylinder head O-rings, like specifically. I ordered these from Streamlight. These are actually the O-ring that seals the cap on the flashlight to keep it waterproof. I contacted them and they sent me a package of them, and that was really nice of them. And let's see if I can. So these things are thin. Well, maybe. Well, here, let's just put one on real quick and just see if it makes it any tighter. I really don't want to put plumber's tape and do all this crazy stuff. I want it to be somewhat normal. I'd like it to be tight. Let's see. That is going to work. Hello. All right, cool. So let me get this off. So again, we are changing. Oops, where did it go? It's hard to see. Here we go. So we're changing the O-rings here. Putting my O-rings in place of the O-ring that came with this. These things are really skinny. I wonder if that's a bore-up cylinder. I mean, it could just be different manufacturer, but I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to put my O-rings on here. If I don't split them, put them on. There we go. There's one. And again, it's a double O-ring, so it's costing me a little bit. Dipping into my stash. The secondary O-ring, but I want to have a metal cylinder head. There we go. There we go. There we go. They're on. Now, give me my cylinder here. I'm probably going to have to grease the heck out of the that piston head. Let's see, where is? Looks like this would be this side or this side. No, let's leave it like that. Let's do this side. All right, let's see what happens here. Get them in here. Fits a bit tighter. Oh, it's still a little loose, but that could just be from the grease. But now let's see if it has any better. Okay, it's getting better. I do need to put some more grease on that O-ring there. So this may work, may not work. Seems to be, I don't know. We'll see if it does. Let me get some more grease on this O-ring here. Actually, let's try something else, because I don't know. These O-rings seem like they're very, very, very pliable. They shouldn't be that squishy. I mean, yeah, they're supposed to be pliable, but that's really, really, really pliable there. All right, let's see. Let me grab one of my piston head O-rings here. And these I purchased at just the local hardware store, and they work pretty good. It's a number 14 O-ring. and it came up. It was the correct size. So let's do this. There's nothing really I can do about the secondary O-ring. I don't even know. I mean, it's there. Oh, what is that? It moved. There we go. Really not sure. I think that's more for stability. I don't know if that's actually, looking at these, this O-ring looks, oh, that O-ring looks bigger, but it's way squishy. Oh, let's put this on, see what happens. They're supposed to be a little bit loose. So you gotta put a little bit of grease in here. So we're gonna bust out the grease and see if I can get a little bit in here and see if we can get it to seal up a bit. If it seals up, then that'd be great. If it doesn't, then I don't know what to do. Oh, it seems to fit a little tighter. Oh my gosh, that is some air seal. Look at this. Look at this. I just put it in there and I'm pushing on it. All right, we're good. Golden. Good to go. All right. So I had to take, I had to change the piston head O-ring and the cylinder head O-rings with an S, because there's two of them in this. All right, well, a little bit of grease, that worked pretty good. All right, cool. And that wasn't even what I was planning to do yet. All right, so I'm going to keep all these pieces together. I'm probably going to have a little Ziploc baggie of stuff because I'm going to repurpose the gears. Okay, so since we did that, I got to put my I got to put this cylinder head back in here. We're not going to use it. We're keeping this. This is just a standby. Oh my gosh, somebody's gun exploded part, and then basically we have extra parts there. I have a piston head also, ball bearing piston head floating around somewhere. I just don't know where it is. So okay, so we got that cylinder, nozzle. So now we're going to start taking gears. Okay, so there's that. And we're going to start compiling shims here. There's that. Let me get this sector gear out of here. And you can see this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, there's only 12 teeth on here. Now I'm not sure where they cut them or if the gear just came that way, because most of the time someone does this themselves, you can see where they buzzed it down. But this is actually pretty good. I'm not using I am not going to use the delay chip. This was built for an MP5, which MP5, and I think maybe it was also used in their version of the MP5K. So with that, you know, they're doing some major rate of fire. All right, so here we go. So we're going to take our first gear here, spur gear. Oh wait, no, I can't do this yet. We got to get the bearings out. Yeah, boy. All right, so let's start with the other half of the gearbox. Let's slide this out of the way. We'll put this over here. The wires can all sit there. Oh man, hopefully these things come out easy. And they're not gonna. Oh, there's one. All right, got it. And actually, I'm gonna repurpose these 8mm bearings. I'm gonna put those in my M249 because it has solid 8mm bushings, and I don't think it would. I think it could maybe benefit from having bushings versus, or bearings versus bushings. Oh man, I don't have the proper punch for this. I'm trying to be nice to it so I don't damage the bearings. Just want it out. There we go. Oh, there it goes. There we go. That one. Let's see. Get this one. I never had a really had a gearbox where they were in that tight, but I guess if you're just mass producing these things, I guess that's what happens. All right, so they're 8mm bearing, 8mm bearing, 8mm bearing. Now let's see if my 8mm bushings fit in here. And I will also put a link to this particular part, these particular bushings. Again, I got these from evic.com. They, you're looking for parts, they have a lot of options. They even fit. All right, they fit. Nice, I like that. Kind of clicked in place. That one sits nice. That one clicked in nice too. I like it. I like it. I like it. All right, so that's one half. Now we got to get the bearings out of the bottom half of this. I really don't want to take this safety latch or the safety lock / latch out because, oh, it looks like it's going to come out anyways. I said it was a kind of a pain to get that spring back in there. I wonder if I could just put the screw back in. Wait, it'll at least this. Oh, I can't. My hands won't stay steady. Why are my hands shaking here? Yep, can't do it. I also can't see what I'm doing. Not enough light in here. I know the camera's picking it up nice, but there's like shadows and stuff. And of course, if I hit this with my flashlight, everything is going to go crazy bright. There we go. That'll keep it from undoing itself, and it'll keep me from losing the screw. So even if this piece slides up on the shaft, it won't actually come out. Okay, so I don't necessarily have to take the cutoff lever or cutoff thing out. And this is basically what, if you didn't know, most people will know if they're watching this. But this is what keeps you in semi. This basically catches the nub on the back of the sector gear after each revolution. When you put it in full, it moves that thing up and out of the way. Of course, my hand's blocking it, so it moves it out of the way and it allows it to, it just keeps on going. But then when you put it back in semi, it goes whoop and it catches on this. It only does one revolution. So, oh, and my punch is magnetized. What the heck? All right. So yeah, those O-rings came in handy. I'm happy with that. All right, so we need to get these out. Let me see if they'll push out, or I gotta smack them out. Probably gonna have, oh, of course. Probably gonna have to smash these out too. Oh crap. And forgot, one of them is under the selector plate. Didn't really want to take the selector plate out, but I'm gonna have to, because these are not gonna move. Two of them are behind the selector plate. All right, more work for us. Let's get it. Let's get it going. So first thing I got to do. First, this is kind of hard to do this. I got this tripod sitting right here, and every time I move the gearbox, these wires get stuck on the tripod. All right. Well, let's take the one out that we can get out, because this one is not. And I don't have my hammer in here, so I'm just using a little screwdriver. It has a rubber handle on it. So we're not smashing the heck out of everything. There we go. There we go. Another bearing, 8mm. All right. So now I got to get this spring out of here. Speaking of 8mm, anybody still use airsoft guns that run 8mm BBs? I saw some 8mm BBs not too long ago. I'm like, I remember being chased down at one of the Lion Claw airsoft events. I was being chased by a Humvee that had a gun turret on it that had an M249 that shot 8mm BBs. Let me tell you, that was intense. Nothing like feeling like you gotta be running for your life. Yeah, it was crazy. Right. This is the hardest. This spring here is not fun because if it goes flying, good luck finding it. I did launch one the other, not too long ago though, and I actually found it. I don't know how. I just happened to look over and saw it was sitting there on the carpet. Again, I have no clue how that happened. And this... No, I can still pop that spring back in. That's fine. Alright, so now I need my... Oh, I bumped the camera again. Sorry, that's not an earthquake. That's me. Alright, I gotta get this out because I gotta get the... This little peg has to get out of the way. Just gonna slide the selector plate off. Well, anyways, if you ever need to change your selector plate, this is how you do it. You got to take the... Okay, why is it not coming out? Alright. Was it stuck on that? That was weird. There we go. I guess it was. There's got a little latch on it. Okay, so that comes out. So now, as my wires come popping out of the gearbox here, trying to keep them all in here because getting the gearbox closed is a pain with all these wires. But anyways, okay. Nope, that has to come off too because that has to go forward. Alright, so yeah, there's no getting around it. So my idea didn't work. So this has to come out. Like that. This piece just lifts off. That there. And then that piece goes at the bottom. That's the bottom half. And then there's a spring that goes with it, which is always fun. So there we go. We're all the way down to bare bones. And this is your microswitch CYMA MOSFET Zeus version 2 low resistance wiring MOSFET. And that's MOSFET, not MOSFET, not MOSFET. It stands for something. I don't even ask. I know you can Google it. I know it stands for something. I just don't remember what. Okay, so that's for that, and this is for my cutoff wheel. All right, so now we get this thing flipped over this way. Now we can slide it enough to where it'll tilt, and booyah. And again, this is how you change your selector plate, and MP5 selector plates, G3 selector plates are different. So I did have to change this, but I had another one because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. And I was building stuff, and the selector plates, you know, these things get worn down and get all crazy. So I figured, let me just order another one. So, you know, while I still can. It seems like certain parts are kind of going away, but some parts are going away, and others are still sticking around. Yeah, these things are in there. Okay, well, I guess we got to snap them out, pop them out with this. Let's do it. Nice and gentle, without smacking the actual ball bearing part of it. I'm just tapping the very edge. I don't know. It's hard to tell, you know, where I'm smacking it. The camera's not zoomed in, but I'm just walking it back and forth as I can. But see, now I have to hit it basically across the middle and the edge. Like, oh, there it is at the same time. All right, so we'll start with the edge and get it flush. Of course, it's not responding like it would normally because again, I'm not using an actual hammer. See, let me get this going there, 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 there. Come on. And I know there's tools and stuff for this, but guess what? I don't have all the tools. I have tools, I just don't have all the tools. Alright, there we go. Got those guys out. Now we flippy this over. There's all my 8mm. So, now what we do, because I got, ooh, what did I do with the bag? Like I said, I'm going to repurpose these bearings. I'm going to put them in something else. So here is the baggie they came in. Now you can see I'm assuming the SKU, I guess that was the brand. It's the bag it came in. There's the product number, or the SKU number maybe. I don't know if that's the correct product number. Like I said, I will put a link to the I don't know, maybe you can pause it and hit that IR code. I don't know if that'll take you to the SKU site, if that'll take you to Edict's site, I don't know. But yeah, I'll put a link to the actual piece there so you can see. I've used their bearings before, or the bushings, and so far they've been really good. So, and I mean, for $5, if you're in here doing what you're doing, why not? Just replace them. It's not that bad. Most guns now are coming with 8mm bearings or bushings that are halfway decent. I don't even think anything in an 8mm. I don't think anything that comes in an 8mm even comes with plastic bushings anymore. That was the big upgrade back in the day, like 20 plus years ago when I started, because a lot of the airsoft AEG gearboxes were 6mm, and y'all had plastic, literally plastic bushings. So if you left it alone, they're okay, but what happens is the plastic, where the gear goes through the plastic, it starts rounding out a bit, and it gets out of round, I should say, or oblong or egg shape, and it wreaks havoc on the inside of the gearbox. Alright, so these guys are going to be a little tighter. It looks like I'm going to have to tap these in, if they'll go in. There we go. Well, at least I know I don't have to worry about them falling out. They're in there. I guess it's a good thing that they fit a little snug, so I know I don't have to put any Loctite or anything. Yeah, they are flush in that gearbox shell. Perfect. Alright, let's get this last one in here. If it goes. This one seemed really tight. This one may not. Let's see if I can get something a little more oomph behind it. There we go. Come on. Be nice. Be nice. There we go. There we go. See, look at that. I just smacked on this with a punch. It didn't even dent it. That is perfect. I like that. Okay. All right. Okay, so we got our bushings in. Everything is out. Bushings are in. We are going to pause for a bit here. We're going to take a break. So, stay tuned for part 2 on this. We're going to get this all back together and see what we can do. Stay tuned for that.